Hi guys, welcome back to Miss Bulazo's Read Aloud series. Today I'm going to be reading chapters 5 and 6 of Clementine. So if you have not heard me read anything leading up to this, go listen to that first. That way the story makes sense to you guys. Okay, here's chapters 5 and 6 of Clementine. As soon as I got home, I started watching for Margaret's feet. From my kitchen window, I can see the sidewalk in front of the lobby doors. Since I've memorized all the shoes of everybody who lives in our building, I always know who's coming in or out. I might be a detective when I grow up. I waited and I waited and I waited, which is the hardest thing in the world, especially when you have a hot head, which I did because my mother made me wear winter hats. So there she is, looking out. So some feet are going to walk past. She's going to look for Margaret's. My mother made me wear a winter hat so she didn't have to look at my chopped off hair. Finally, I saw Margaret's purple sneakers, and I ran to meet her in the lobby. Let me see. Margaret pulled out her lips out of the way so I could see all of her teeth. Margaret's mouth was the most beautiful place I had ever seen. It was even more beautiful than Disneyland, Sleeping Beauty's castle, which I'm going to visit when I'm 10. Every tooth had its own sparkly silver bracelet, and there were little blue bits sprinkled around like tiny presents. They're rubber bands, Margaret said. Every month I'll go in and get them changed, and they can give me different colors. Whatever I want. That gave me such a good idea. Does anyone know what braces are? They help straighten your teeth, but Clementine calls them bracelets, but it's actually braces. I pulled off my hat to show Margaret that she wasn't the only one, and that made her happy. Then I told her my good idea. You can pick the color of my new hair, whatever color you want. You can draw it on my head. That made me her even happier. Those markers are still in my room. Let's go. Is your mother mad? I asked. Yep, but she's going to a movie with Alan this afternoon. Alan is Margaret's mother's special friend, which is a grown-up's word for boyfriend. So when we went up to her apartment, Mitchell was there, watching TV. When he saw my hair, he grabbed his chest and fell off the couch and pretended to be having a heart attack. Then he smacked his forehead and said, "You guys are unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable." Even though he's older and doesn't have to be nice to us, I think he likes me. Margaret glared at him. Then she grabbed her elbow into my side, so I glared at him too, even though I didn't know why we were doing that. I'm not so sure Margaret is the easy one in the family. She dragged me into her room. I can't wait for summer, she growled. My mother's finally going to get rid of him. You mean baseball camp? He wants to go, Margaret. That's not getting rid of someone. Margaret gave me her "I'm in 4th grade and you're not" look. Goodbye and good riddance, she muttered. Then she got out my mother's markers. They were all still there and looked exactly the same, with none of the caps chewed up. I don't know how Margaret does that. She picked a bright green one and colored my hair, and then drew some curls on my forehead and neck. No pointy lines, I reminded her, just round ones. Thinking about pointy lines made me wonder about Margaret's bracelets again. How do they feel? I bet they're full of pointy parts. Nope, they feel like heaven, Margaret said. No pointy parts at all. They're as soft as rabbit's ears. Baby rabbit's ears. Too bad you can't have them. She kept her lips stretched out of the way to show me her teeth the whole time she talked, so it was kind of hard to understand her. But I did. I'm getting them too, I said, next week. Then I pulled my hat back and ran down to my apartment, quick to make this be a non-lie. I need bracelets on my teeth, I told my mom. They're beautiful and they feel wonderful. First of all, my mother said, they don't feel wonderful. Not in the beginning, anyway. Margaret's mother stopped in earlier, asking if we had any medicine left over from when your brother was teething. She told me Margaret cried all the way home. That Margaret. Well, I still want them. Next week. And second of all, you don't need them. Your teeth are straight enough. Which is the most unfair thing I've ever heard. I can feel them bending, I said, and suddenly I could. So we better make that appointment. Then before my mom could get to the third of all, which is usually the worst one, we heard my brother waking up from his nap. I'm coming, Radish, I called to him. Go for a walk? He asked when I came in his room. You're lucky to have me for a big sister, I told him. I have to remind him of this every day because he forgets. We went into the kitchen and I got out the walk. Nobody invented this trick for me when I was little. Then he climbed into the walk and grabbed the handles, and I gave him a really good spin. He went whirling around, bumping into the cabinets, and then he got out and walked wobbly until he fell over, and he thinks this is the funniest thing in the world. So I guess this is what a little walk is. It seems like a little toy that you wobble around in. Again, he yelled, but I didn't spin him again because he throws up on the second ride and sometimes has to clean it up, which is N-O-T, not me. This is called being responsible. He came over to me and pulled off my hat and pointed to my head. Green? And I thought about something. First, Margaret had straight brown hair, and we didn't look alike. Then we cut it off and colored it red, so we sorta did. Then she got bracelets on her teeth, which meant we didn't look alike. But soon her teeth would be straight, and we would. Except now I had a green head. What if we never looked alike? What if we did? Chapter 6. There's Margaret and Clementine on the bus. Thursday morning, I woke up with a spectacular idea. I'm lucky that way. Spectacular full ideas are always spurging up in my brain. The secret thing I know about ideas is that once they sprung into your head, you have to grab them fast, or else they'll get bored and bounce away. So I called Margaret and told her I had a good surprise for her, and we needed to sit in the back seat of the bus. It's unfair that sometimes even spectacular full ideas don't work out. It is also unfair that the bus drivers are allowed to send you to the principal's office. It's not my fault, I explained to Principal Rice before she could say any of those Clementine's why did yous. Margaret had a very slippery head skin. Mrs. Rice fell into her chair hard. She clapped her hands over her ears and squeezed like her brain was trying to jump out. Part of me wanted to see something like that, but most of me said, "Not today, thanks." Margaret's slippery skinhead is not the problem. The problem is that you tried to glue your own hair onto Margaret's head. You've been having lots of problems this week. First you cut off Margaret's hair, then you colored her head. Yesterday you cut off your own hair and colored your own head, and today this. Clementine, what's going on between you and Margaret? How do you spell nitrogen? I asked Mrs. Rice. Sometimes grown-ups get distracted if you ask them school things. And Mrs. Rice spelled nitrogen for me and went right back to the Margaret thing. Are you angry with her? No, I said. Okay, fine, I yelled it, but I didn't know I was going to yell it, and I couldn't stop in my yelling voice. Here is how good of a friend I am to Margaret. I'm not even mad at her for last week at my party, even though she breathed on the M&M rocks in the back of the dump truck, which is the best part of the cake, and then she sat on my sparkly glitter paint set, which was my best present, and she said it was an accident, but I don't think so, and now she's trying to look at me, except she has to get bracelets, and I don't. Oh, said Principal Rice, and she didn't say anything at all. She just looked at me, which is the worst thing of all that can happen to you in the principal's office. So there she is, screaming about how Margaret made her upset. Something we didn't know. I sat there swinging my legs back and forth like crazy for 300 hours, and then I said, "Can I be done here now?" She said, "Okay, fine." Margaret's mother let her come play after school. Does this mean she's done being mad at me, I asked. No, she just doesn't think there's anything left for you to do to my head. Besides, she says I'm 9 years old and I should be able to protect my own head. Then I told her some good news I had just thought of. I'm 9 years old now, too. No, you're not. You're 8, she said. I came to your birthday party last week, which I remembered. No, I explained. I was 8 at my party. 9 comes after 8, and it's after my party. So now I'm 9. And that means we're the same age. That's ridiculous, yelled Margaret. I'm almost 10 and you're 8, not 9. She tried to flip her hair, which didn't work well without her actual hair, and her head got even redder under the scrubbed off marker. Yes, I am, I told her. I'm in gifted class for math, so I understand about numbers. Then Margaret left and slammed my door. That Margaret, after all I've done for her, helping her fix her stupid hair? I followed her into the lobby and yelled, "You shouldn't have breathed on my cake and sat on my present, and I don't want you to look like me." But she didn't even turn around, so now I have nobody to play with for the rest of my life. But I didn't care, because I was 9. Okay, maybe I was just after 8. Okay, fine. Being after 8 reminded me that I hadn't checked yet that day to see if I started growing a beard, so I ran to the bathroom. While I was there, I accidentally climbed onto the toilet seat to look out the window into the side alley to see if Margaret was out there. I didn't see her, but I didn't care, especially when I looked in the mirror and saw that I had started growing a nice brown beard on one cheek. "Hey, Bill," I yelled. Bill is my dad's for other people name. "Where's your razor?" So when she says Bill's my for other people name, for her she calls him Dad, but other people call him Bill, so that's his real name. Dad came skidding into the bathroom so fast I thought his feet might be on fire, but they weren't. I showed him my beard. So he'd come running in because a razor is sharp and scary. We shouldn't be playing with those, so that's why he came running in. Dad squinted and sniffed my cheek. "That's not a beard, Clementine," he said. "That's chocolate frosting. As a matter of fact, that smells exactly like the kind of chocolate frosting your mother puts on cake she made for her book club, which nobody was supposed to touch. Is that a coincidence?" "Okay, fine." I wiped up the frosting underneath, and underneath was a very mad face. "Clementine," my dad said, "you know girls don't grow beards. What about the amazing bearded lady at the circus? What about that, huh?" "Clementine, I've told you hundreds of times, you can't grow a beard." "So Rutabaga gets to have one like yours one day." Rutabaga is the vegetable name she calls her brother. "Down to his knees if he wants, and I don't? That's not fair." Which I've told him 100 times. "First of all, your brother's name isn't Rutabaga," Dad said. "Second of all, well, never mind. Maybe today is not time to talk about what's fair." My dad and I looked at my mad mirror face with the green marker top for a long time. "I sure am having a lot of trouble with hair these days," I whispered. "I know, sport," Dad said. Then he hugged me. Usually this squeezes the mad right out of me, but this time it just mixed it all up with the feelings of sad and lucky, which was extremely confusing. "Hey," my dad said, "have you got a little time to spare?" I squint-eyed him. It depended. "The Great Pigeon War," he said. "It's time for evening maneuvers. I could use someone like you on the front lines tonight. Someone with fresh ideas. I'm running a little low on them myself. I said okay, and my dad and I put on our raincoats and went outside. First, he got out the hose, which he calls the heavy artillery. Then he sprayed off the front steps and the sidewalk in the front of the lobby doors. Last, he pointed the hose at the pigeons covering the ledges and window sills and balconies and roofs of our front building. He sprayed them until they all flew away. That's the best part, because when a million pigeons take off at the same time right above you, you can feel their wings be exploding inside you like fireworks." My dad handed me the hose. "Want to clean the lion?" Well, of course I did. The carved lion above the front door has really pointy teeth, but I'm not afraid of him because he's using those teeth to protect us. Plus, he's just stone. I sprayed him with the hose until he was all shiny in the streetlights. "You know, Dad," I pointed out, it's not really the pigeons you're at war with. The pigeons aren't the enemy." So look, remember their dad is the manager of the apartment building? So he sprays away the pigeons with the hose because they're scared of the water. Because we don't want pigeons hanging outside. They're kind of gross. "What are you talking about?" he asked. "It's my job to keep the building looking nice, especially the entrance. You've seen what those pigeons do." "Exactly. The pigeons are fine. It's their mess you hate." "What kind of mess do pigeons make?" "Well, okay, that's true," my dad said. "I'm actually at war with this pigeon splat. You got any ideas to get rid of the pigeon splat without getting rid of the pigeons?" "How about diapers?" I suggested. "We could wait until all the pigeons are asleep, then sneak up and put little diapers on them." "Brilliant," my dad cried. "See, that's what I'm talking about. I can always count on you to see things from a new angle. I'm going to make you a captain." "You made me a captain last week for the idea about charging them rent," I reminded him. "You can be a sergeant then." "Never mind," I said. "Who would change all those diapers every day?" "Not me." Dad said. "Excellent point. Back to the drawing board, sport." Then we just sat there together, watching the pigeons flock back to our building for the night. We listened to them cooing above us, sounding like a million old ladies with secrets. What are we going to do? I asked. I mean, for real. Alright, guys, that was chapter 5 and 6 of Clementine. We'll have to come back for the rest. Thanks for watching.